these are evergreen, so it should have been waited till about now. You know, we're starting in April here, but it was part of the cleanup. So when you look at the start of this, look under Heroes Cleanup. Anyway, we were trying to redo this whole section, and Dale took out a bunch of plants, and then took out the big tree, and then, well, these were in the way, so I just used my tractor to dig it out. Then spent a lot of time, and I knew that it was going to be fine. Well, I dug out 12, and 2 did not make it. I think some were very harshly dug out and not much root, and also the timing was not the optimum, but these being Privet, I figure it was going to be okay. Now this one to the right, this big one here, I knew had a great potential because it had a really good line. So what I did was I put it in my pop-up greenhouse, so it had the optimum care. Others, I scattered it here and there, not knowing which was the best. But anyway, so of the dozen that I dug out that day, 2 did not make it, so we have 10. Well, I just brought these 2 in to show you what we do at this next stage. Now let's get started with this smaller one. When I do a series or a few, I like to get started with the least nice, so I get kind of warmed up. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with this one. Although these are evergreen, but they're reacting like deciduous, because while it was stripped down to almost nothing and then came back. So what we're going to do is to just kind of get rid of some of these just to see what we have to work with. So you know that most of these straight up don't need to be here. Okay, so I have to be careful right in here, the apex. And I was hoping something would come up here. I was hoping something would come up here, but it doesn't look like it. It's down here. So we're going to have to use one of these and create a new apex. Yeah, for some reason, I think there was a dieback here. So one of these. And I'm thinking, oh, I guess we should study the thing first. This looks like the front here. So the best new apex is this one, so I'll cut this back one off. Cut this, and this will be our new apex. And these are in conflict, so I'll get rid of those. So, okay, this is our new apex, conflict, get rid of that. And see how this line is going parallel. We want to branch this way, so just cut it off here. Well, you know, these privet, they grow back like crazy, so you could afford to do a deep cut, especially now. We're in this early part of spring, so we're getting into the growth season. Okay, so I think we're gonna be okay with this. So at this stage, it should look somewhat like this. We need to get that apex to grow so that it gets some little more girth on it and have a little better transition. Okay, what I did not do when I dug these out and planted was to fertilize. And that's usually advised not to do when you have a new plant. But now it's getting well established, so I'm going to fertilize this and then put it back into growing ground. Well, actually, I think now I'll put it in more sun. A lot of these were well protected because they didn't have any leaves. Okay, like I was saying, this one had the most potential. I saw the nice line, so I treated this the best. Now let's get to what we need to do to get this to the next level. And I think as it comes around, the front is just about here. So you could see that it grew very vigorously. And like I said, this one was well treated, being put into my temporary greenhouse because it was dug out at basically the wrong time of the year. But I knew most of them was going to make it. Okay, so what we're going to do is to get these vigorous ones that go straight up, because we actually can't see what we have to work with. So this is kind of the rough cut, but we just cut them off. And then after we're able to see what we're doing, we'll make some more decisions. But for now, I'm just going to get rid of these. Okay, now I'm holding off on the apex because now we need to really be careful how we're going to do this. Okay, what's happening is this was a rough cut, so we need to work on this transition here, meaning I should take my carver and carve it out, but I think I could still wait a few months for that. Okay, we could make this the apex, but it seems like this run here is too long, so if I make this the apex, I cut this off, and then I think in the future it'll look better. So I'll go ahead and do that. So you can see what I did, right? Okay, can you see the line that I drew here? Like this? And you'll come around like that, right? So I'm gonna wait till this grows back a few more times and then go ahead and cut and carve it out so it has a nice smooth transition. A lot of these you should kind of slow down. If you push it too hard and you cut it too soon, if there's a dieback, you'll run into problems. So I did the same thing up here. I left a stub on purpose. I'm gonna let this grow. I need to get this to fatten up so that it's not an abrupt change from here to here, okay? So it'll be done this year, just not today. This one did have this really great root flare, and then it had this movement. Well, we're lacking on the apex and the top branches, but it'll come around. And Privet, like I've been saying, is very rapid grower, so I wouldn't be surprised if this thing started looking really good by fall. So this was a quick update of the Privets that was dug out last, I think, October. It was after the big rain because I was able to dig out the big plum tree that was in the way, and these were things that was growing underneath. Anyway, I think that Privet is one of the underrated materials, especially if you're beginners. You should try this Privet because it's so forgiving. I mean, this was dug out with absolutely no regard to safety. Just yanked it out, and of the 12, 10 made it. And it was dug out at the wrong time of the year too. So everything was going against it, and still most of it survived. So anyway, this is Hiro saying goodbye. I'll see you again real soon in another chapter. So this was the 2 of the 12 Privets that was dug out in the fall of 2021. Okay, the final look. Yes, so I think this is going to be one of the better ones. in the very near future. So I'll feed this and put it in a little more sunlight than it's been. So these been pampered so that it will survive, and now that it's survived, I'll make them tough.